Inconsistently consistent.
Hello, welcome back to Inconsistently Consistent, the podcast where we definitely record on a regular schedule. I'm one of your hosts, Melanie.
I'm the other host, Rachel, and we're joined by a new guest, and I'm sure you guys are probably like, man, how did you, convince some poor soul to join you guys for your nonsense? And honestly, I just asked very nicely if he wanted to join.
If there were no weapons involved.
There were no weapons involved. We're joined by the Dungeon Master for my Curse of Strahd campaign, Khan.
Hello.
He's kind of the bane of my existence right now.
What do you mean? I did nothing.
I mean,
I have done nothing.
that's a fucking lie, and you know it.
Aren't DMs in control of everything in a D&D campaign?
It depends. It depends on what kind of DM you're looking for.
The "it depends" is a lawyer answer too, so
Yeah.
I know what that means.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a mixed bag. It entirely depends on what kind of DM you're looking for. There are some DMs that meticulously tick down. Like if you're into railroading and stuff like that, that's fine. But if you want more freeform, you want someone that's a little bit more laid back.
Kinky.
Jesus Christ.
Yes, that's what we're talking about. Great segue,
that's what we're talking
Rachel.
about, yes. But before we actually get into that, because I've told this to Khan, I've told this to everybody, I like to recap our D&D sessions for Melanie, and I like to get her opinion on them. So I realized it's been a while since we've actually, I've kind of told her about what's happened, and there's been a lot. So I'm gonna condense it so we don't take up most of the podcast with this. So I stabbed someone because I thought he was the vampire guy, and I killed him, and that was a shock because I didn't think he'd die.
And it was not the vampire guy?
He was not the vampire guy, no.
Was he an NPC?
Yes.
Okay.
He was supposed to get married to another NPC that we literally had a bachelorette party hours before, and I just fucking killed her fiance.
Oh.
It's the start. It's the start of. It's like the other. It's like the other end of a noir detective series, except you get the perspective of a killer. It's just I commit the crime, now I gotta avoid. Now I gotta avoid the quirky detective.
Yeah. So then, of course, I managed to kind of lie my way out of it and was like, no, I found the body. I don't know what you're talking about. And they're like, we saw you holding the knife. And I was like, oh, I pulled it out of his body. I was trying to stop the bleeding.
I was trying to speed up the death. Yeah. Pulling the knife out.
Ended up kind of having a memory lapse because I got charmed by someone that worked for Strahd, which is the bad guy. Then we went to the wedding, and I know we were all confused because we were like, well, at a game, he's dead. So is there going to be a wedding? No. He shows up. The guy I stabbed shows up, and we're all just like, huh. Okay.
Is he alive?
We'll get to that. Then he gets stabbed again at the wedding by another character who works for one of the people that our friend Ami, she betrayed her. I have the word gone. The thing from the Amber Temple.
One of the vestiges.
The vestige, thank you, that's the word. She betrayed a
Mhm.
vestige who made her eat corpses, and he got a new
No,
champion, and
I want to be clear on that one. He didn't make her. He offered her the chance to do it, and she went full horse into it.
she
I
really did.
I want to make that clear. He didn't hold her at gunpoint and say you're going to eat that corpse. He was just like, "Hey, corpses are yummy," and she was like, "Oh, you really?" And just went to town with it. I want to clear that up.
I'm having Con here for this because he can be like, no, no, no.
I haven't been getting the full story.
So yeah, he had a new champion, showed up, stabbed Vasily, killed him again, quote unquote again. Then they
Mhm.
killed Irina, which was the bride.
Mm.
So then we had a fight at the wedding, which turned into
You literally
basically,
made the corpse bride.
yeah,
Yeah.
When was Tim
yeah.
Burton involved?
I
Uh,
mean,
you know, Tim Burton could make for a very interesting NPC in Barovia,
yeah.
honestly.
Yeah, that would be cool. But then Percy, who's the werewolf, brought Irina back to life. Then we found out that the Vasily that was in the church was actually Strahd in disguise. So then he kidnapped Irina. And
Mm.
the Vlaki basically turned into a buffet for the undead.
Mhm.
And I had to leave my girlfriend and I cried.
Mm.
So, emotional damage.
Does she survive?
We don't know. We'll find out on Wednesday.
Oh, just blow up a wagon. She'll come running.
Jesus Christ.
Keep the
That,
romance
im-
alive, Rachel.
that implies she can run right now.
Con, I
She'll
swear
come
to God.
prowling. She'll
Con, I
drag
swear
herself
to
by her
God.
fingertips with her just legs that don't exist anymore.
Yeah.
She has a metal leg, unless you're saying that got removed in the fight.
I mean,
I don't
anything's
know. If she
possible.
went full Deadpool 3, she could have used it as a weapon.
Yeah. Yeah. It is enjoyable. I will say it is enjoyable hearing the recaps. I'm like sitting here trying not to like actually through it because I know there's like a limited time for this. So it's like I'm not trying to sit here and actually
So we ended up in the castle. Evangeline almost died to a pack of rats, which I will never let Ami live that down for as long as I know her.
yeah.
Found the
The, the,
sword. Oh,
sorry. I was
found the
just gonna
sun
Cut
sword.
in. Cut her off.
Cut her off.
I was
That's
just,
fine.
Replace
I
her.
was just I was just gonna say it is amusing to me how a level 10 party can deal with like higher level NPCs fairly easily, but I put a swarm of fucking rats and it's the end of the world for their party.
And
Well,
they're regular
also,
sized rats? Like,
no, they were giant rats.
Yeah, these are like New York rats, like that big.
okay, well, that's not that big. When you say
Well, there
giant
was like
rats, I think they got to be bigger than humans.
no, they weren't
No,
that big. But also, she had taken 79 psychic damage at the start of the game because she wandered up a hallway and attacked an illusion of Strahd and failed her
Mm.
save. So she was already down some hit points.
7th level spells are nasty like that, you know.
Yeah.
Mm.
We ended
She
up
lost her
killing.
psyche by walking down a hallway.
She did. She really did. We ended
Mm.
up killing Strahd's right hand man,
Mhm.
which I literally during that hole because we thought we were gonna fight him last week
Mhm.
and we didn't. We fought him this week.
Mhm.
Then because Khan hates me, he made it so he, he made it so during Ophelia's memory lapse due to her charm, she killed one of the party's former members and like straight up was carrying his severed head around in her bag. and had no idea until Strahd was like, "Oh, you were so helpful to me. I'm sure you still have it in your bag." And she's like, "What do you mean I have something in my bag?" Pulled out a fucking severed head. It was like, "What's in the box?"
What's in the bag?
What's in the bag, Ophelia?
A precious party member, and that's who's in the bag.
Who's in the bag. So we did kill him, and then we killed 2 of his wives. His husband sided with us and helped kill one of the wives, and the
Hold
other
on.
wife just
He
kind of
He has multiple wives and a husband?
yes.
He has 3 brides and a husband, yeah.
He's got a harem?
Yes.
Yeah, so technically they're like not married, but they are. It's a weird. It's like he has a harem, but they're not like actually married. They want to get married, but he basically is like, no, I only have eyes for this one girl, and they're like jealous teenage girls about it.
So he's like, I just
That's
don't
the
want to be
best.
tied down right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like they want to be tied down with him. He doesn't want to commit to them, except for the guy. The guy straight up is kind of like being held at gunpoint to be there, pretty much.
Yeah, Escher was
That's,
kind of forced against his will.
yeah. That's why he was quick to betray everyone else as soon as Strahd went down. That's why he was just like, "Yep, I'm free. I'm out. Fuck you all."
Yeah, big old middle finger.
Yep.
Yeah, so we killed Strahd, but we had to do like the thing with the vampire where you have to like stake them through the heart to make sure they're actually dead. And we let Escher do that because we were like, man, he kind of like fucked you up. Maybe it's kind of poetic if you kill him.
Okay.
Yeah. That's kind of where we are now.
They also let him break his spawndom by drinking from Strahd before staking him. So now Escher is actually technically a vampire lord.
Yeah.
On the same level as Strahd.
That will sound like it goes well.
Oh yeah, there's going to be no repercussions from that whatsoever.
Definitely not.
It's
Not
going to
at
be
all.
fine.
Not at all. Not at all.
Yeah.
You have it recorded now that he said that, so there's no repercussions, so you can use that.
I've also said everything's fine when it isn't, so...
He has said that so many times. Everything's fine. It's going to be fine. Everything's fine. It's going to be fine. I will be like, oh yeah, if this person's alive. Yeah, you don't know that. And like, it took me forever to get confirmation if I actually beheaded the party's old friend. I literally was like begging in the DMs to be like, please tell me if she did this. I need to know.
He's just like, your bag can't open. It's been sealed shut for another few episodes.
The bag man got it. Don't worry about it.
Jesus Christ. Another segue. Speaking of, this episode is about Jesus Christ.
Sorry about that.
This is now a religious podcast.
I hope you accepted Jesus into your heart.
Do you have a moment to listen to some blasphemous stuff about Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior?
No, our Lord and Savior is Charles Darwin.
Yeah, but I'm talking about blasphemy.
Is it technically blasphemy if we're just talking logistics here?
Probably, because it's run like a cult.
You know what? Fair.
We're not a cult, though.
It is, or like a dictatorship of like, never say a word against the top. Unless it's quiet behind closed doors. And then you say like 10 Hail Marys about it.
I was about to go. I felt like there was a joke there with the don't question the top.
I mean, probably there is a joke.
Yeah,
but yeah,
I feel like it's layered like the mafia.
Like onions.
And there's the Godfather at the top.
Yeah.
The Godfather.
God the Father?
God the Father, God the Son, and God the Holy Spirit. This is now a Catholic podcast.
I was raised Catholic. I'm qualified to talk about it.
I was not raised Catholic.
I was Southern Baptist that went into Catholicism, and now I'm just kind of vibing.
I am now agnostic. Unless I move toward atheism on any given day.
Every day.
It's really It's really a minute by minute thing.
Every day we stray further from God.
We do every day. We do stray further from God. But yeah, this was a kind of we did a deep dive when we were talking about Robert Liston, and we kind of came across this, or I came across this whole thing about, is Jesus a lich, zombie, or revenant? I don't even remember how I got down this rabbit hole.
It was me. I did it.
Yeah.
How did we get down the rabbit hole?
Me and my ADHD thoughts, like, does Jesus count as a zombie?
So, sometimes it do be like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Then we're like, we should really look into this.
It's an important question.
Mm-hmm.
It is an important question. So
I have another question.
Okay.
Hmm?
Should we put in a fourth? Necromancy. Because doesn't he raise Lazarus himself?
Yes.
Yeah.
Or does he does ask his daddy to do that, I think.
So wouldn't that technically not make him a necromancer, but a cleric?
Or would that make him a warlock if he's asking his dad to do it for him?
Or
Well,
make him
I mean,
a Nepo baby.
I mean,
Nepo
you
baby.
could be a cleric with a very interesting relationship with your god, you know? D&D's
Sure,
not.
yeah.
Yeah, if we're talking in terms of D&D, like, the gods are nebulous enough to where they can do and say just about anything. Like, you could. I mean, that's how Asimars kind of exist, not necessarily through gods, but celestial beings that decide that human is bangable.
I'm trying to find that first article that I found where it was like, my child asked me and I felt my Catholicism guilt. And I was like, But yeah, there's like, the people are trying to decide if he is a zombie, lich, or revenant.
Also, do you think when Jesus prays, he has to like start with "Dear Dad," or like "Dear my Father, please listen to me"?
Hello, Father.
It is I, your son, Jesus. Remember
I imagine
when
he
you
starts
put me
it
on the
as,
cross.
"Hi, Daddy."
Hey, Dad, me again.
Hey, Dad, it's me, your boy.
Remember how you were gonna crucify me and like in front of everybody? Can I get a favor first?
You remember how I was once a celestial being and you fucking yoded me down to the earth to die for these peasants? I need a favor.
I died for these peasants walking on their peasant feet.
Oh, God.
Okay, so I have a Reddit thing here, and they're kind of like, basically being like, if he, saying that some people like Aramaeus and Nika fucka whatever his name is, they had access to his resurrection. They could have like burial right, which he would be a zombie. If Jesus was resurrected by his own magic, he's a lich. If he was resurrected for a purpose, he would be a revenant. And this person's like, heck, he might even be a mummy. I'm like, he's not a mummy.
He has minimal bandaging.
Yeah.
Well,
it's a mummy.
And not only that, like, the only reason I could see in the mummy argument is the fact that mummy burials are very, like, religious ceremonies. They just basically poked him with a spear, said it was good, and then threw him in a cave. They didn't exactly, like, extract his organs through a precise procedure or anything.
Yeah. They didn't try to, like, preserve him.
Yeah, they didn't, like, hook up his nose and pull his brains out that way,
Yeah. Which, I mean...
He didn't get a cool pyramid.
No. That's the important bit. If you didn't get a pyramid, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah. You didn't get a pyramid, you're not a mummy.
You didn't get a pyramid?
Exactly.
Or at least like a fancy burial room, because I know like some Egyptian rulers decided to opt for like the burial rooms because people kept stealing their gold and shit when they died.
Yeah. So somebody commented on it and was like, he didn't return as a mindless body hungry for brains, so not a zombie.
But that depends on the zombie you're talking about.
Depend on the zombie, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because Walking Dead zombies are just about like the flesh, the meat, right? They don't care about
Yeah,
your brains.
yeah, and again, it could be a case it could be a case that it's not necessarily Jesus himself piloting his body. Something could have body snatched him. That
Hmm.
could also that could also be a thing.
Mm-hmm. Then they
Well,
say he wasn't an evil magic user. That's debatable. Who made himself undead while alive? Who had his undead form destroyed and then reformed around his phylactery, which I'm assuming
mhm.
is how a lich happens.
Yes.
Well,
This person seems to think revenant is the option, so perhaps his spirit re-entered his body because of unfinished business, though he didn't seem to have returned intent on revenge or with an immediate evil intent, unless you count in Revelations when he returns as a conqueror. Speaking of that, did you know they're making a Passion of the Christ too?
Oh my God!
is he
Seriously?
still that passionate after he died on the cross?
I mean, I think it's just going to be about the Book of Revelations where he comes down and fucks everybody.
Well, so here,
Fucks up
here
everybody, not fucks
just
everybody.
We don't know.
you never know.
I
He
think
might
we
want to.
know in the Revelation, in it never said he fucked anybody.
Are you sure about that? Did you read
Yes,
like the
I've
King
read it.
James version?
I've read a version because I had to do it for a course in university, actually. Just a bit of light reading.
I was
Yes,
about
the
to
Book
get.
of Revelations is a bit of light reading.
Yeah.
I was about to
If
go.
you
My only. Good. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say my only knowledge of Revelations was that book series Left Behind. That's my only knowledge of it. It's a Christian fan fiction of people trying to survive the Book of Revelations.
Some of it pops up in if you've seen the show Supernatural. Some of it because you get the 4 horsemen riding
Yep.
in. You've got, pretty much everything goes to shit. Most of the things are on fire.
I just mostly remember it being once it's all said and done, Lucifer gets yeeted into the sulfur pit, and anyone that was all oh, you said one thing about Grandma Ann over there saying her pie wasn't great, into the sulfur pit with him for eternity.
Oh my God, can I go to the sulfur pit? I just want to go there and just.
I would need to lose my sense of smell first.
I'll trade you. Mine's shot. You can have mine.
My God, you guys are making trades already? Oh my
Oh
God.
my God.
You know what
But
we haven't talked about, and some people might not know it. What these things actually are. What is a zombie? What is a revenant?
Okay,
What is a lich?
let's
I was
do this.
I was about to go. I feel like that would be a good way to narrow down the debate is give clear definitions to what each
Okay.
category is.
Okay.
Speaking of,
Well.
the Oxford Language Dictionary defines zombie
Yep.
as a corpse said to be revived by witchcraft, or a tall mixed drink consisting of several kinds of rum, liqueur, and fruit juice.
I saw
And
that one, and I was.
technically, Jesus is full of wine.
Mm-hmm.
According to Catholicism, his blood is wine. So he could be a mixed drink zombie.
Or an alcoholic.
An alcoholic's wet dream, yes.
Jeez.
Alcoholic's vampire's wet dream, even better.
So that's Strahd's wet dream, is what I'm hearing.
Is he an alcoholic?
He's a vampire, but probably also an alcoholic.
He would be after drinking Jesus.
Mm.
That would be an interesting tactic to use against a vampire. Just load
Yeah.
some blood alcohol content and see what happens.
Okay. So, a revenant is a spirit or animated corpse that is believed to have been revived from death to haunt the living. The word revenant is derived from the old French word revenant, returning. So that's what a revenant is.
Yeah.
And let's see
Now,
what a lich is.
revenant, I don't think it's just like Merriam-Webster one that returns after death or a long absence. So it doesn't really
Yeah.
say that it has to be a messed up version.
Mm-hmm.
You could just be chilling.
Yeah, this is very good definition Wikipedia. A lich is a type of undead creature. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. So actually, a lich most often depicted distinguishing feature from other undead in fantasy fiction is the method of achieving immortality. Liches give up their souls to form soul artifacts, called a soul gem or a phylactery. In other fantasy works, the source of their magic or immortality. So hang on, Voldemort was a lich then?
Yes. By definition, Voldemort was a lich.
Yeah, lich becomes... Yeah, okay. Yeah. So that's kind of what these three things are. They're very different, very mindful, very demure of each other, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think he's a zombie, if I'm being frank.
That would be the weakest contender of this, is the fact that he is not a zombie. He's definitely not a zombie.
Yeah, because zombies are usually like rotting flesh, right? And well, we only see Jesus like 3 days after he's been dead, so he would be pretty fresh as a corpse, right? And he doesn't stick around long, so we don't know if he really goes all rotten and stinky.
Unless he's like allergic to the sun or something and stepped outside and just poofed. Who's to say?
Yeah. Oh, I found the article about the one that I found where it's like why he isn't a zombie. And that's the first thing you say. The first thing they talk about is the flesh. You know, because he literally is like, he looks pristine, you know? He looks like the same, minus the holes in his hand and his feet from being crucified, but minor details.
But he doesn't bleed out of those, right? When he comes out, he like tells them to feel it, and they feel
he tells
it.
Him this, he's
and
like,
they're
put
like,
your fingers in my
poke
hole.
your fingers in my hole.
Yeah.
Okay, right. Same brain.
I know you watched me die, but in order to prove that I'm actually alive, just put your fingers in my hole, you know?
Just casually stick your fingers in my hole. No, it's not a sexual thing.
No, it's not. Just do it again and slower.
I was about to go. I'm surprised he didn't go down the route of like, you know, like, hey, see, because see, that's the thing is there's plausible deniability now of his brain clearly functions and some of his organs clearly function, but they can't check for a pulse by putting fingers in the parts of his body that are damaged. So the question is, does he have a heartbeat?
Oh, that's a good point. But you know, back in the 34 AD, they weren't very smart.
Fair.
Wait, hold on. I just found an article here. A doctor on why blood and water gushed from Jesus' heart.
Oh.
When is this? Is this before he dies?
I would imagine so if you got nails in your...
No. This is before he dies. This is before he gets hung on the cross. So when he gets, when the soldiers come to him to take him away, to put him on the cross eventually, he gets stabbed by a lance in the side, and blood and water flow out. So he's already got some magic shit going on. That man doesn't bleed normal, so he's already been magicified or something beforehand, or he's doing some magic.
Yeah, some incantation is being placed upon him.
Here is the article I wanted. It's called "How I Taught My Son That Jesus Isn't a Zombie."
And I mean too, I guess another point about the zombie argument is what kind of zombie are we talking? Are we talking like the generic like Western zombie we think of that are like slowed down? Because there are other types of zombies, like that was pointed out earlier, which if we want to bring the zombie argument back into like circulation here and say there's a chance for it, I would suggest maybe looking into like voodoo practitioners. Because there are some zombies connected to like voodoo practice that supposedly are aware enough to like operate and stuff. But the problem with that is, if I recall correctly, again, take this with like a massive grain of salt because I'm doing this a lot off memory. Like those type of zombies typically have a practitioner that like controls them, like has like an effigy or something that basically is like, this is where your soul is, but your body doesn't like rot or anything. You like are under their control.
Yeah, it's almost like a golem.
Yeah, basically, that would be a good way of putting it. So if we're saying like, so if we want to like throw the zombie argument back into circulation, that would be the argument is somehow someone in the Middle East got a hold of a voodoo practitioner and brought him back like that.
Yeah. So I'm
Somehow.
looking at, I found an article that talks about the different types of zombies that there is. And they list so many.
Oh, yeah.
So we have the generic zombie. So, they're just kind of like the meandering types, whatever. Then we have the runners, which, so these ones
like
are
video game zombies.
There's also like, well, they're not listening, they're listing kind of just in general the type of zombies that we've seen in media and stuff. So, the runners, they're technically living infected, but they're still a form of zombie. It doesn't say anything about their brain. They've got, like Khan said, the voodoo zombies, compelled to carry out commands of a witch doctor.
Yep.
There's the Romero zombies, which is a dude. Ghouls.
I forgot ghouls were considered zombies, even though, like, we've kind of separated them out of that.
Yeah. They are victims of nuclear radiation. So this won't work because it rots their brains to the point of making them feral and only determined to do one thing: attack anyone who's not infected.
Yep.
Animal zombies. He's not an animal zombie. That's one of them on the list.
Are we sure that Jesus wasn't like a squirrel piloting the corpse?
Like a mech.
My God.
Squirrel's got a mech suit, Jesus.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Can you imagine?
It's the crossover with Guardians of the Galaxy instead it's Rocket in there.
Yeah.
We didn't know we needed.
Okay, so I found one article they define 4 basic types: the chemical zombies, reanimated due to the use of some sort of toxin. Radiation zombies, reanimated due to radiation. Parasite zombies, caused by a worm or other parasite inhibiting or controlling their body. And then supernatural. These include religious and magic zombies.
Yeah, which if we're talking, like, if we're taking the encounter with Jesus as like face value and not like hyperbole or anything, there's definitely some supernatural religious bullshit happening with him.
Yeah, so again with the voodoo ones, and there's the flesh eaters. He doesn't eat his friends that we're aware of.
Maybe
Brain
he's
eaters.
just
No,
eaten.
he makes his friends eat him because he's like, this is my body, this is my blood.
But he does that before he dies.
Yeah, but still, that's cannibalism.
No, I think he does that after he comes back too.
Oh, does he?
I don't know. It's been a while since I've read.
Someone pull out your Bible. Hurry.
Someone pull out our Bible right now.
I'm just going to Google.
I know one of you has one you haven't seen in over a decade on the shelf.
Oh, it's not on a shelf. It's in a box.
It's
in a box in a closet.
Mine's in like a little cave in a side of a cliff, and I have a rock rolled in front of it. No reason.
Are you sure it hasn't come out?
I'm trying to grow a Jesus.
How's that working out for you?
Better than the Chia Pet.
I mean, there's not really this article. None of these really seem to fit, besides like the voodoo one, maybe. But that would imply that God is like controlling him and being like, "Yes, do the dance, my little puppet son."
Well, I mean, if you want
to... Hold on 1 second. I need to know. I just saw this article. Did Jesus receive his own body and blood? Because did he eat his own body and blood? If so, he has committed cannibalism. Auto.
He did. He
cannibalism.
broke the bread and was like, "This is my body," and he ate some of
He ate
it
and
as well
drank
with
of
his.
it too.
Yeah, so that's all
So,
cannibalism.
Yeah. Okay.
is he a Wendigo?
Ooh.
Oh.
Did he ever die? Because typically, Wendigos are come from stories of people who have succumbed to cannibalism as their only option when they're starving, and then turn into monster. And a Wendigo could survive being hung on the cross.
Yeah, because you can only kill them, if we know anything from Until Dawn, you can only kill a Wendigo with fire.
That's the same on Supernatural, but I don't know about the original stories.
It's
I'm
you have
looking.
yeah. I think you have to destroy their heart in the original. It's kind of like vampire-y, but that's also a problem because they tend to have like superhuman strength and are unreasonably durable.
God-powered, if you will.
Either silver, steel, or iron bullet, or a dagger.
Oh, so kind of like the werewolf treatment.
Yeah, but it says a shaman may be the only person who can subdue and destroy a Wendigo. So kind of that would make sense if you think about it, because like the Romans, while they may have been worshippers of many gods and everything, they didn't really have any like actual shamans in their religion. They had like priest and priestess of different gods and goddesses, but like none of them were the ones who like nailed Jesus to the cross.
Yeah.
So maybe he's a Wendigo.
Yeah. I don't have answers, only more questions.
Well, actually, now I'm thinking about it, I'm starting to lean more towards the lich thing, mostly because of something that was said earlier. Because you remember the whole "this is my body, this is my blood." Who's to say that that wasn't some sort of ritual to turn other people into his personal phylacteries, like Voldemort? Like pull that maneuver.
That has a great, not that it's great, but there's
No, it's great. That's fantastic. It's the greatest.
Think about
thing.
it. He does create a ritual in the Catholic Church, right? Of people eat of his body, eat and drink of his blood constantly. So it is a magical scenario. Quotation marks around like finger quotes happening on my end. For the people listening at home. Yeah. So that whole scenario, he's created a ritual. Like he starts a ritual, it becomes ritualistic for hundreds of thousands, millions of people to do regularly once a week, right?
Yeah.
And to go and practice and pray to him through this, right?
Yeah. And it's
so created a cannibal cult.
If you want to look at the practicality of liches when it comes to ascending to lichdom, most tropes that involve liches involve a ritual, the caster dying and then coming back, but continually having to perform some sort of task or action. And especially if you're the head of, I don't know, a religious cult following, and you convince them to perform these practices for you due to particular reasons, I don't know, I return to dad, quote unquote, then you could argue that he is a lich.
I love when Jesus said, I return to dad now.
I return to dad. Okay.
And then he got beamed up, Star Trek style.
This motherfucker pulled a Vecna and just dabbed on us and left, and we're over here.
Okay, so I found one that talks about communion and what it was designed for. So, to the first one, which we know, commemorate the death of Christ. However, the second one kind of goes in line with this lich theory to signify, seal, and apply to believers all the benefits of the new covenant. In this ordinance, Christ ratifies his promises to his people, and they on their part solely consecrate themselves to him and to his entire service. This man is a lich, and he's got a cult.
Because if you do not receive the Eucharist, as in the bread, regularly, you are not submitting yourself to God, properly in Catholicism. And that is how you are kind of signing up for heaven, basically, in this, right? So if you don't, then there's not enough power to the head of the thing, the lich, right? So basically, think like in the movie Elf, when Santa didn't have enough juice and they had to make everybody believe to make the sleigh run. The big sleigh in the sky doesn't run without enough people eating the bread. If there's not enough cannibals, it doesn't work.
You can't just pull into a speedway and just refill the tank. Now you got to make sure that the neighborhood's eating people, drinking blood.
They're eating good today.
They're eating good today. But here's the passage from the Bible from Matthew 26, 28. While they were eating, Jesus took bread, and when he gave thanks, he broke it, gave it to his disciples, saying, "Take and eat, this is my body." Then he took a cup, and when he had given thanks, he gave it to them, saying, drink from it, all of you. This is the blood of my covenant, which is poured out for many for the forgiveness of sins. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, Exhibit A.
Yeah, so it's drink the Kool-Aid, but it won't kill you like it did in the cult back. This was, back in the day for us, but, later in time for Jesus' time. So, they had to drink from the Kool-Aid. These people are drinking the Kool-Aid, but instead of killing them, it's actually going to give them a second life.
Interesting. I think this kind of makes sense if we talking about this communion and stuff.
Unfortunately, this does make sense. So I feel like more and more blasphemous the more I do it. I'm going to be disowned.
We will have to go to the church and pray to Father for we have committed heresy.
We're just going to pray to our Lord and Savior, Charles Darwin, okay? And he'll forgive us for our transgressions.
If we're praying to Charles Darwin, do we have to start it with a thesis statement?
Yes.
Because he is sciencey.
He is sciencey, so we have to start it. The Oxford Dictionary defines heresy as blah, 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 blah.
Hello. Bunch of hubbubaloo.
Okay.
Hullabaloo. One of those.
Hubbubaloo?
Hullabaloo.
Anyway. Though, I was about to go, if we want to jump into the other category of, I know we're kind of bouncing around it, if we want to also point to the revenant ends, technically, again, with the trope involving revenants, typically revenants are brought back to complete a certain task that they couldn't complete in life, whether that's just due to, emotional attachment or, sentimentality and stuff like that. So, if technically he was brought back to perform something like doing what he needs to do at the end of Revelations, that could also be a point to the Revenant side because I don't remember what the full myth is off the top of my head, but it's they will just keep coming back until it's completed. But typically, if I recall correctly, usually most Revenant stories involve someone, I don't know, looking at them funny while they're taking a piss, and then they're mad at that and they murder them or something.
I don't want a stat block for a revenant.
So, to throw a wrench into all of this, when I just looked up revenant on Wikipedia or Wiktionary, whatever this is.
Wiktionary?
Wiktionary.
I like that.
It says, the definition. It gives 3 definitions. So it calls it a noun, and then it says, number 1, someone who returns from a long absence. Number 2, a person or thing reborn. Or number 3, and this is where it gets weird, a supernatural being that returns from the dead, a ghost or zombie. So it is saying a zombie is a revenant.
No, they're not the same. They're not the same. A revenant and a zombie are not the same.
And
Because
also,
whoever wrote this
is grammatically incorrect. It's not how you use semicolons.
I'm assuming what they mean by the zombie is the fact that it's like, you're being brought back into your corpse. Like, unless it's because I'm going also like if we're like I know I'm throwing this in the D&D terms, but I feel like it explains a lot of the loopholes of shit. Like the way revenants work is it's a soul inhabiting a body, and they will keep going back to that body until that body is basically just destroyed, and then they'll just jump into another body. So they're still alive, but you might have Tony the Revenant get bodied, and then he comes back as Clara, but he's still Tony. But he's still Tony. He's just in Clara's body.
The mascot we didn't need for Frosted Flakes.
Yeah. No, Tony the Revenant is Brianna the Skinwalker's best friend from our pilot episode.
That's her boyfriend.
That's her boyfriend. Oh my god.
The unintentional OTT.
I smell a sequel.
I smell a sequel to the original Brianna the Skinwalker thing. Also, it says for the personality of a revenant, they have an unrelenting desire for revenge against their killers, almost to the point of ignoring anyone else who's not involved in the murder. I think that kind of like... I mean, unless he's a secret, vengeful little bitch.
He is in Revelation.
Yeah.
Just give him a few thousand years.
I was like,
just built up.
I mean, mind if I do a little bit of a spoiler for Curse of Strahd?
Sure.
The module. I mean, if we want to talk about that too, you got to also remember, Ray, about Vladimir from Argynvost. He was pissed at Strahd for killing his order and his husband. That he literally brought back the order through pure hatred, and that's why the revenants were there. So unless like you could make the argument, like I know he dies around this time, but you could make the argument that if Jesus did come back as a revenant, his target would be Judas. But Judas did kill himself.
But he forgives him. Right? He already...
You can forgive, but never forget.
Yeah.
Never forget.
But I think he forgives him before. Like, he says he's gonna, like, I forgive you before.
I think when he's
happens.
like caught in the garden of whatever the fuck the name of that garden is, and like Judas kisses him to indicate that yes, this is Jesus. He's like, I forgive you for betraying me for 30 pieces of silver, which is apparently all my life is worth.
Yeah, it's very passive aggressive.
Yeah. Yeah, it could have been a passive aggressive remark. We weren't there to see how Jesus said it. It could have been like a Harry Potter situation where it's like Dumbledore said calmly, and then we go to the movie. He's like,
yes. I hope if somebody ever makes like a parody of the crucifixion, which is a weird sentence to say, that they have it where Jesus says it like that.
I imagine it's an animated parody.
He's just being very passive aggressive.
Jesus said calmly.
Jesus said calmly.
Jesus said, I forgive you. It's all right. And then walked out.
I forgive you.
Judas, did you wrap me to the Romans?
Judas, did you wrap me to the Romans? Judas, did you wrap me to the Romans? Did you sell me for 30 pieces of silver? Rah! Where are the other drugs, Judas?
He's now played by Hulk Hogan.
Brother, where are the other drugs?
For 30 pieces of silver, brother.
For 30 pieces of
He did all this for 30 pieces of silver.
Let me tell you something, brother Judas.
Can you imagine that they did like Passion of the Christ 2 is just Hulk Hogan as Jesus, and everybody else is just like regular actors playing it normal, and it's just Hulk Hogan, like a parody of Hulk Hogan happening.
He wandered onto the wrong movie set is what happened.
Yeah. But he's gonna say the lines.
He's gonna
just not in the way anyone wants him to.
Yeah. Starting to lay the smackdown on you.
Yeah, he's like, let me tell you something, brother, we're gonna fight.
What would make that 100% better is everyone is still super deadpan while he's just the only animated character throughout the whole movie.
Yes.
Like it's like
My God,
like
that would make so
yeah, like everyone is super serious and super like, oh, this is deep, and there's this Hulk Hogan just fucking spiraling.
And he's like in his wrestling uniform costume thing. I don't know what to call it, right? Like he's dressed like as himself. He's not in this at all, but he's saying the lines that are supposed to be said by Jesus, and everybody else fully invested in playing this normal and pretending he's not being weird.
Yes. Also, I looked up something about Passion of the Christ 2, and Mel Gibson is talking about it, and he said he described it as an acid trip. And to be released on April 18th, 2025.
He missed a golden opportunity to say it's like being in the desert and then finding a burning bush talking to you. He missed a golden opportunity.
It's like being in the desert for 40 days and 40 nights, but in a movie form. It never ends. Why did I do this again?
He has 2 scripts, and one of them is very structured, very strong, and kind of more of what you should expect, and the other is like an acid trip. Because you're going into other realms and stuff. I mean, you're in hell and you're watching the angels fall. It's like crazy. I don't know what type of Passion of the Christ this is gonna be, but I kind of hope it's the second one because I would love
Passion of the Christ 2, Electric Boogaloo.
I was gonna say 2 Passion, 2 Christ.
That's either the name of a follow-up Passion of the Christ or the name of like a really silly like Christian love story between someone and like Jesus.
Okay.
2 Passion, 2 Christ.
One of the comments on this Reddit thing is Jesus 2 Electric Boogaloo. And someone said 2 Passion, 2 Christ.
Yeah. And then Passion of the Christ 3. Jesus' revenge. Right? So the revelation at that point.
It's like the Star Wars. It's like the Star Wars trilogies. Yeah, Passion of the Christ, Attack of the Christ,
of the Lich.
And then Revenge
of the Lich.
Revenge of the Lich. Passion of the Christ 2. Crucify this. You crazy, Jesus. You crazy. Yeah, that's what my ex-wife said. I'm just reading comments on this Reddit post now.
Oh, boy.
Oh, my God. Oh,
what was
God.
that one we read about the goat? Remember we read Reddit stories one time, and it was it was like the first dates, like bad dates.
Oh,
and there was one about a guy that saved his buddy from a bad date by coming in with his pet goat and being like, we're going to sacrifice the goat.
They were like, we're ready for the sacrifice.
Oh, a bit of curry, bit of
curry, bit of conjuring, bit of curry.
Yes, bit of conjuring, bit of curry.
Amazing.
That was the name of their restaurant, is bit of conjuring, bit of curry.
They didn't have a restaurant. That's
no,
what he
but
told
we
her.
said that was gonna be like a restaurant, like an Indian restaurant / voodoo place where bit of conjuring, bit of curry. You get your and your voodoo dolls.
Get the food up front. Get the conjuring in the back.
Food in the front, conjuring in the back.
Yeah,
hell yeah, brother.
Hulk Hogan version of the mullet.
Hulk Hogan runs the restaurant.
Do you want your goat filleted or? flambéed, or would you prefer it reanimated and on the ceiling? I can make it tap.
It's just the goat from Goat Simulator is just losing its freaking mind.
It's like, yes, we're doing a 2-for. Buy 2 butter chicken dishes, get 1 reanimated dead ex-girlfriend for free.
No, the third one is it's not a dead ex-girlfriend. It's you get the reanimated chicken.
You get the reanimated chicken, it comes back to life.
He goes in a take-home box. Take your dinner home for later.
He's just a little guy in a box.
He's a little guy.
A little chicken in
What's
a box.
in the box? But better.
What's in the box?
What's in the
Somehow
box?
less and more horrifying.
Yeah.
A reanimated chicken corpse.
Especially if you especially if it reanimated while you were eating the butter chicken and it just stares at you.
Especially if they had already plucked it and skinned it and made it ready to go in as a roast chicken, and then it was reanimated.
Honestly, that would be a fear right there. Like that honestly is like a really big fear. It's just like eating something that's like, oh, it's not fully dead, and it like freaks out when you bite into it. That would be horrifying.
It's me with my fucking mouse.
But just think about the roast chicken.
Hexa did that as a courtesy.
Dancing.
She should have. Oh, I didn't tell you this, Melanie. Tangent, because we're talking about things being not dead. So I was playing Baldur's Gate 3 with Khan, Ami, and our friend Nox. And Nox was also streaming. And while this was happening, I look over and I see Hexa has caught a mouse, which good for her. She's doing what cats are supposed again. She's doing what cats are supposed to do. However, she did not kill the mouse. So here I am at my desk, and the mouse is like, she fucked up its back legs, and the mouse is like crawling across the floor, trying to escape her. And she's just watching it. And then it gets under my desk, and you can hear in the VOD me losing my shit about this fucking mouse under my desk that's not dead. And I'm literally yelling at her to kill the mouse. I'm like, you need to kill this. Like, kill it. The mouse is just lying there like, I'll end my suffering. Please just end me. And she's just looking at it. So I literally picked her up, put her down by the mouse, and I was like, kill it. And you know what she did? She sniffed it. She walked away. She laid down on the ground, and she looked at me like, you kill it.
Do I have to do all the work around here?
What do I look like? An apex predator? What do you
Yes! You are an apex predator. What do you mean, Hexa?
She's like over there like, it started to beg and that was boring. So I lost it. I'll be over here.
Oh no.
Fucked up on so many levels. But she literally so then of course I was like having this freak out while streaming, and they could just hear me being like, why won't you kill it? And Ami goes, well, the first 2 that she killed, she was showing you. Now it's your turn to do it.
Yes. You watch on the first one, and then you watch on the second one. And then the third time, you have to get hands-on if you really want to learn these things, Rachel.
Exactly. You gotta.
That's how you build a skill.
Exactly.
Not this skill. I don't want a mouse killing skill, okay?
The fourth one, she's not even going to touch.
I will burn this apartment to the ground if there is another mouse in here. For legal reasons, that is the joke.
The one who told me
she'll burn down her apartment in Minecraft.
Yes, in Minecraft. I will burn it down in my Christian Minecraft server.
She'll burn it down with her dance moves.
Actually, I'll burn down the house I have in The Sims. There we go.
The first time you told me about her catching a mouse and torturing it, I really thought, because you talked about, and I thought it was, the way you described it was hilarious. The situation is not hilarious. I'd be horrified in real life.
Yes.
Watching this. But her just, stepping on it, and it continues to squeak, like a squeaky toy.
Yeah.
Every time she pushes down on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just imagined that she was, interrogating it about where the rest of its family was, like in a mob movie. right? Like, give me the reason.
Where's the
Give
money,
me the
Lebowski?
Yeah, she's just like squeak, squeak, pushing on it, right? That's what I imagine. And maybe he just gave up the information, and that's why she left him live, you know? Let him live and just crawl away. Like, well, I got the information. I know where the rest of his family are hiding.
No, see, the
So-
first one that she
The dirty
tortured, it was
rat.
on a sticky trap, so like it couldn't leave.
Hmm.
And
Yes,
she was
you
pushing it
did a
into
really
the
good job as a team, you and Hexa in that one, in interrogating that mouse.
Exactly. Tag team.
here so much. I hate it here so much.
Well, okay, this will make you feel better that I was tortured too by my cat. So Spinelli, I just like heard her going like pat 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 at something, and I was like, Spinelli, I swear to God, what are you doing? Come here and show me what you're doing. And she literally walked into the bathroom where I was with something in her mouth and dropped it at my feet. And it was like a 3 to 4 inch long, wiggling long bug thing. And I don't know if it's a centipede, a millipede. I don't know. It was huge, alive, dropped it at my feet. Like, there you go. This is what I was doing. And then waltzed off. And I was horrified.
Oh no.
Yeah.
It was huge and it wouldn't die. So I don't know how I didn't have the cops called on me, because I was like beating it to death with a shampoo bottle, screaming as I did it.
I literally and Con can vouch, it literally heard me being like, I don't want to do this. So I literally had to get a container and put the mouse in the container so I could dispose of it, because I didn't want to kill it on my floor under my desk.
Yeah,
and they were
all
like,
the
why didn't you
blood,
just,
you know,
and of
the
course,
cops become questioning.
yeah,
You
and of
really gotta
course
hide a
my
body.
sister's boyfriend was like, so you put it in a container and let it suffocate? And I was like, listen, yes, I did. And then I threw it in the dumpster. Okay, what do you want?
Damn.
That's
Damn.
cold. You wonder why Hexa was like, it's your turn. Right? This is yours. Now dispose of the body after you're done.
It's your turn to take initiative.
It's not
You
my
ever
turn.
want to move up the ranks of the cat mafia?
I don't want to be
you
in the
really
cat
gotta take
mafia.
initiative.
Nor do I want to have to murder. I was like, I can't kill the mouse. I literally physically, I know we've gone way off topic, but I literally could not bring myself to kill this mouse. I literally was looking at it. I was like, I cannot kill this mouse. I just need to let it suffocate.
I just need to let it suffer.
Just need to let it suffer more than it already has.
Instead of making it quick, I'm just gonna prolong it, just a little bit.
I couldn't kill the mouse. I'm
You know
sorry.
what? In the war against rodents, none of us are bystanders. We all must play our part.
We're nothing but mice and men in that instance.
Oh my.
I think we've come to a decision on what Jesus is.
I think we
After
have.
this rodent talk,
Yes.
He's just a cat in the game of life. Playing with all of us.
You know what? I like this conclusion. He is a cat.
Jesus is a cat toying, and we are the mice that he toys with.
And yes. Judas is a fucking rat.
It's a rat.
But my vote is Lich.
Yeah.
I think that's the best thing. He's the head Lich, and we're all the little liches that he's made.
We're all the little lich babies.
Just a little lich.
He's just a little lich. Yeah. I think that's I think we've answered it. He's a lich.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And if you disagree with us, too fucking bad.
Let us know with your words.
Yeah. If you do disagree with us, or you have something to contribute to the lich theory, you can reach us on our social medias. We're Inconsistent Podcast 1 on Instagram, Inconsistently Consistent on Facebook. You can also email us. We're inconsistentpodcast1@gmail.com. If you want to send things to me specifically, do not send me mice content or I will block you. You can send send it to me on my Instagram and TikTok. They're the same handle, _RachelVR_. I do funny D&D related TikToks because I have a problem.
It's not a problem. It's an outlet.
Melanie, where can they find you?
Well, they can find me, not in real life, on the web. They can find me on my website, melanieflynnbooks.com. You can get my book that I wrote, The Toy Maker, about, a toy maker's killer guy, just like torturing other people. If you really like the mice content, there you go. You'll probably
I fucking hate you, Melanie. I just look at my phone and there's a text from her that says mice content.
What if I find you a mouse that's what if I find you a really adorable mouse plushie?
I will fight you in May when you come up here if you do that.
I'm gonna get you some mice content with like pictures of cute little mice and played with like Sarah McLachlan over it, like the FBCA commercials.
Also, fucking Christ. If you want to find Con streams on Twitch, and he's linked in the bio. Occasionally. He streams once a week, at least.
At least.
At least. He's linked in the bio, but he's twitch.tv/techpriest_con. We play D&D. We're wrapping up our Curse of Strahd campaign. So, you can come watch us Wednesday where we're going to find out what the fuck happened to Vallaki. We're going to find out who's alive, who's dead. We're going to find out if Khan's going to make me cry, either from good things or bad things. So, yeah.
And the party has one last little challenge.
We do have one last little challenge to face, and
if you incorporate mice into that con, that would be amazing.
I swear to fucking God. I swear to God.
Yeah. But yeah, the last little challenge the party has to deal with is, can they seal away a god? That's the real point.
Mm-hmm.
That is the real question.
That is the question.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Thank you for joining us, Con. This was fun.
Yeah, thank you for letting me hop in on this.
Okay, bye!
Bye!
Bye.
That's just how we end it. It's just by yelling bye.
Bye.